Dungeons & Dragons, also known as D&D, is for a bunch of loser shut-ins who can't make real friends, stutter, and don't know how to talk to people, right? Now, what if I were to tell you that famous actors Vin Diesel and Robin Williams have both played D&D? Why would such highly personable people play D&D? I will explain this to you through using the lens of my own life. D&D can teach you language and listening skills. It can also teach you how to be more organized and help build lasting friendships, which are all incredibly crucial to interpersonal communication. It has also saved my own life and has the potential to do so for you as well if you ever need it. Now this is how you can get a +2 on your charisma score. Dungeons & Dragons is an incredibly cooperative role-playing game where you and your friends attempt to tell a narrative with a dungeon master, also known as DM, or guy wearing a funny hat who's setting up the narrative. Language is incredibly valuable in this setting because you only know as much as the dungeon master tells you. You have to ask questions because he can only say so many things at once. So you can ask, is there a trap in this chest? Or is there anything mysterious in this room that I need to check out? And you're not always shooting fireballs out of your staff at goblins, or you're not always swinging an axe to slay an ogre. You sometimes have to solve your problems by just talking, like in real life. Now, let me set up a little scene for you. There is a disease plaguing the town. People are dying left and right. The potion maker in the town says he has a recipe to cure the disease and save the city. He says he needs one last ingredient, the front tooth of a determined man. Now, the most determined man in the city is the captain of the guard. You have to convince him to relinquish his tooth to save the town. There's one of 3 ways you can go about this. You could appeal to his ethos. Say, hey, I'm a highly trustful person. I am honorable. I've helped out this town so much. You can trust me to be a good person in this situation. You could appeal to his pathos and say, hello, sir. It is your noble duty to relinquish your tooth to save the town, even if it mars your beautiful smile. Butter him up. Appeal to his emotions. Or you can appeal to his logos and say, it is incredibly logical that you give up your tooth. One small thing for the sake of the town. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Like Spock says. You're in a group of highly specialized individuals. Whether you're an elf ranger or a gnome warlock, whatever you are, you're in that group. And you need to listen so you can pay attention to what they're doing. There's a couple different listening skills outlined in the textbook Interpersonal Communication by Corey Floyd, the 2nd edition. You could analyze their actions, listen to what they're saying, analyze it, and figure out what you're going to do next. Or you can advise your friends. You can listen to what they're doing and say, hey, there's a skill that you might have forgotten that might help out the situation. Like there's an idol on the pedestal down the hall, you don't want to trigger a trap and lift it, so you turn to the wizard and say, hey, use your spell Mage Hand, lift it up from a distance, and we'll see what happens. In my life, I spent 4 months in and out of rehabilitation centers for schizophrenia, depression, and an eating disorder. I did not know how to talk to non-institutionalized people anymore. And when I started playing Dungeons & Dragons, I learned how to be more personable, and I'm now not the shut-in I used to be. Now this is how you can get a +2 on your intelligence score. Organization is incredibly important in interpersonal communication. The textbook outlines that organization is the process of categorizing information that has been selected for attention. It helps you make sense of the situation and understand what it means. In Dungeons & Dragons, you use character sheets to be organized in the game. It lists all your attributes, your equipment, your health points, anything that you can or cannot do, all that kind of stuff, so you're not causing hiccups throughout the game. It's incredibly important to keep that in mind while you're playing Dungeons & Dragons, because nothing's more of a bummer when you have to pull out a book and flip through and see the rules for a certain spell that you know how to cast. And in my life as a schizophrenic, I need this skill. Organization is so important in schizophrenics because in schizophrenia, your brain is addled and fuzzy, it is hard to concentrate, and you might be an incredibly intelligent person, but you have all these ideas floating around that are just hard to pull together. So being organized helps you have a more relaxed and calming life. D&D taught me how to do that. It taught me how to parcel out my life and know what times that I can do different things, and I have lists on my phone of things I need for different situations. It's incredibly useful, and I definitely recommend playing Dungeons & Dragons if you have schizophrenia. Now that I know how to talk to people, and that I'm smarter for it, it's time to gather the party. In every game of Dungeons and Dragons, and every quest in general, there's a moment or series of moments called gathering the party. Anyone who's familiar with fantasy or any type of storytelling knows this sort of tropes. You and a bunch of other adventurers who all happen to be in the same tavern, though you've never met before, are confronted by a wizard who has a quest for you. Or that you woke up in a prison cell without any memory of anything, with a brute, a gnome who's reading a book, and an elf wistfully looking out the window. You and 4 other adventurers were hired to go and cart up goods to a secret dwarven mining facility out of Fangolin. And you were told by the dwarf that hired you that this is the last job you'll ever need to take. You in life are attracted to people of similar and complementary skills, right? So when you're interpersonal communicating, you will be drawn to those kinds of people. In Dungeons and Dragons, each person has a different set of skills, and those can be complementary or similar to each other. And when you're using these skills in this fictional setting, this actually bonds you to people in real life. You get to know other aspects of themselves, even if they aren't themselves, if that kind of makes any sense in that sort of way. And fictional settings can translate to real life settings. I never felt more close to my friends than when we were fighting a demon together. We were all using our different skills and our abilities to help each other out, and that has bonded us for life. And when I first got out of rehab, I pulled out a set of dice, and I brought it to a theater to show off to some of my brother's friends because I knew they were kind of cool. And I was like, this is upping my nerd cred and all that. And when they saw that, their eyes grew wide and they were so excited. They're like, hey, we're actually having a game tonight. You're invited. Let's do this. And I made the best friends that I had in my entire life, and we still talk to this day. Dungeons and Dragons is just a game. You sit around a table with your friends, roll some dice, drink some Mountain Dew, and eat pizza. And you just have a good time. But all games have their lessons to teach you. You don't have to go into that dungeon alone. And don't worry, you'll know what to say when you're confronted with that dragon. You have everything you need in front of you. You just need to get it all together, organize it, and you'll be pulling off that heist in the Dark Lord's castle like a pro. And there will always be a halfling rogue to back you up, or a dragonborn fighter, or a tiefling wizard. No matter what, there will always be people around you to support you. And you'll eventually have your own adventuring party where you guys get to sit together and over mugs of ale and talk about all those great adventures you've had. Thank you.